Hello everybody, are you capable of imagining the best when the worst is happening? Just want to catch the end of these birds here as they fly over the Mount Arbel. There were lots of them, but I just didn't get there on time. But you can still see some of them. That's already the second big flock I have seen this morning. Look at this sunrise, people. Look at this sky. We're here in Galilee, at the Sea of Galilee, on Mount Arbel that's becoming lusciously green. And everybody is very happy. Let me back up here a little bit. I was up here a couple of moments ago with the Instagram live and the cows were grazing, just so you get this sense of how happy they are. And look at the moon. Oh, there are more birds. Look at this, people. Look at the birds. Look at the amount of birds migrating to Africa. From Asia, from Europe. Millions of birds go through here to winter in Africa. And now look at the moon. So high up still, even though the sun has risen. Check it out if you don't believe me. This is not Photoshop, people. This is for real. This ain't Photoshop. So look, we already have one cow here participating. She's looking on without... She's directly present. Look at more up behind her. She's kind of skeptical, this one is. Look at our cave up there where we were with Roberta 2 days ago. Oh, more birds. And look at more coming here. Look at this. Where are you, birds? Wow. And I see more. Oh, I see lots more coming still. Look up here. Come on, get in the camera, people. And then I see more still coming back here. Streams of them. Yes. This wonderful dynamic of nature. Let's come back to see our sunrise because it's glorious. We didn't have a cloud the last few days, and now we have this incredible formation. This marvel of beauty. The sun is swallowed up behind the cloud, so for now it's not very visible. I just got distracted there trying to find these birds. We have seen a lot already. Here you can see them again. They're in the center of the screen. Not so organized like we've seen other groups, maybe a lack of leadership or a carelessness. Who knows? Human interpretations. So people, look at those lovely clear mountains and the lake. And on this mountain, that's the opening word this morning in Isaiah, on this mountain. On this mountain. People, are you able to imagine the very best? And not just to imagine it, but to be sure of it and to communicate it to people going through their very worst. This is the amazing strength of Isaiah and all the prophets and the entire Word of God. This is amazing. Are you able to communicate, first of all, to know and not just to imagine in our sense, but to see the very best coming, even though the very worst is happening right now. Every one of you are in countries, many countries, there's a certain stability and a well-being, comparatively an incredible well-being compared to many others, but also countries going through a convulsion. But imagine a country driven into exile because of the corruption of their kings, because of so many wars and greed and passions and power plays and violence and killings, thousands upon thousands, and you're in exile. And maybe you're missing some members of your family. I was reading the story of a priest yesterday from Italy who was born in 1910 and he died in 2014, a 104-year-old priest. He was the rector of Old St. Patrick's Cathedral in New York. His name was Marinacci. Maybe I'll remember his first name. And he didn't catch up with his brother for a long time when he finally got to go to the United States. Imagine in exile. There's a lack of tenderness there, people in exile. People that drive people into exile, there's no tenderness. And they're not going to be too worried about getting siblings together and siblings together with parents. Can you imagine the conditions of exile? The living quarters, the hygiene, health issues. Driven away from your own country. Far away from the temple in Jerusalem. Temple is destroyed. Your own country is destroyed. Run over. You know? A disaster. And this is where Isaiah is sitting among his people. And he talks about on this mountain. And he doesn't mean Mount Arbel. I'm just getting out my text here so we can read the real text for you. On this mountain. So he's in this horrible situation. We're going down this path here. On this mountain, the Lord of hosts will provide for all peoples a feast of rich food and choice wines, juicy rich food and pure choice wines. And then he makes a much more drastic, bigger claim. And these people are very familiar with death. Maybe they weren't even able to bury their dead. And he says, on this mountain, and he's not talking about Mount Arbel. Isaiah is talking about, obviously, Jerusalem. But it's nice to be up here on a mountain for this moment. There you have the setting moon. On this mountain, he will destroy the veil that veils all peoples. The web that is woven over the nations, all nations. He will destroy death forever. The Lord God will wipe away. This is amazing. People that are in exile, mourning. The Lord God will wipe away the tears from all faces. The reproach of his people he will remove from the whole earth, for the Lord has spoken. And then the text closes a little bit later down and it says, let us rejoice and be glad, for he has saved us. And they're still in exile. For the hand of the Lord will rest on this mountain. And then we have Psalm 23, the Lord is my shepherd, there is nothing I shall want. Even if I walk through a dark valley, I fear no evil. And he stretches out a table before me in the sight of my foes. There's so many things to love about all of this these passages, sorry, I'm just have the tripod out here avoiding bushes. There's so many things to love about these passages. They are just so rich in goodness, in hope for a people in terrible suffering. Dear Magdala family people, look, here's Magdala. And Magdala is not a club for just nice people saying good morning to each other. The Magdala family is about bringing good news, bringing hope. And also this message that Isaiah has, it's striking all through the book of Isaiah, even though the book comes from various periods. It's filled with this universal message of salvation. This is where we have the text, I will make you a light to the nations, where all nations will be blessed. This is an extraordinary gift. And here we are very grateful that we've been blessed with this spirit of encounter. A crossroads spirit. The archaeology here speaks of, you can see some of the archaeology right here. Look at this. A bird's eye view of the archaeology. Wow, there the ritual bats are right there. And there's a lovely mosaic under that little roof in the center of the screen. And then there's our synagogue. Imagine a priest, a Catholic priest, saying our synagogue. But every Christian who walks in here can also say this is our synagogue. When every Jewish person, first of all, can walk in here and say this is our synagogue. Crossroads of Jewish and Christian history. But I say the archaeology is a crossroads that speaks to Jewish and Christian people directly because of its first century dating. But here the spirit is a crossroads for everybody. Oops. That was, hello there people. I was trying to zoom out and then I hit the selfie button. So it's going to change the direction of the tripod here a second. Hey, what's going on here? There we go. More or less. So this is absolutely wonderful. In the midst of terrible suffering, alienation, rejection, driven into exile, many relatives slaughtered in all the preceding wars. Those times of exile don't happen easily and comfortably. And to have this powerful message of hope. You know, I was thinking this morning, that go back to when humanity hadn't developed much speech, and when writing was not yet developed at all, and people were beginning to build collective memories little by little. Imagine waking up from the night, protected from wild animals and everything, and seeing a sunrise taking care of the darkness. Imagine the education to hope that is in a sunrise every day. It's an education to hope. It forms us. It's not just information. It builds us as we notice every day that the sun is rising again. What a gift. It gets warm again. There's light. There's a new beginning. Hey people, look at this down here. Look at this surprise. Right here on the pathway. There'll be cows walking along here, but you can also see how dry the ground is. Yesterday it was still quite, or the day before actually, on Monday, it was still quite wet from the rain from last week. But now it's finally dried up, so it's easy to walk. Oops. It's a little steep here and a little uneven, so be careful where you walk here, please. How you walk. Nice to see all this life again. And this ability to see and be confident of hope. And the amazing line there, he will destroy death forever. You know, this is the ultimate barrier. And science is still very silent there. But this is the gift. The gift that I say is able to proclaim 6 centuries before Christ, you know. It's really amazing. Now let's move on a little bit more. At this time, Jesus walked by the Sea of Galilee. Where is the Sea of Galilee, people? So you don't have to imagine it today, you can see it. Even if you were never here, now you can see the Sea of Galilee. This is Magdala, and we have the Mount of Beatitudes. If you just follow the edge of the lake on the left, it gets right. You're right looking at the Mount of Beatitudes. My hands are busy here holding the other camera, so I'm not going to zoom in. And this is across from here. You have Gerasa. You have up in that north, toward the northeastern corner, in the center of the north of the lake. There you have Capernaum. So now let's come back to the Gospel, Matthew 15. At that time, Jesus walked by the Sea of Galilee. He went up on the mountain. He went up on a mountain. Oh, we went up on a mountain, but it doesn't say it's Mount Arbel, okay? He went up on a mountain and sat down there. Great crowds came to him, having with them the lame, the blind, the deformed, the mute, and many others. They placed them at his feet, and he cured them. The crowds were amazed when they saw the mute speaking, the deformed made whole, the lame walking, and the blind able to see. And they glorified the God of Israel. You know, these are also Isaiah words. We don't have them in the reading today. Oh, there are two guys on bicycles here. But they're not going to come our way, I don't think. I think they'll be going to the left, so let's catch them while we can see them. You see them there? They're getting their bikes out through the little passage there in the gateway that obstructs the cows from going through. I thought they'd just lift up the bike and put it over, but that's an ingenious way to do it. To turn it up on its back wheel. And they're going to head along that path there. The value of friendship, brothers, spouses, friends in life, accompanying each other. So these guys should be there. I kind of lost them out of the camera. There we go. They just went through that path there. Yes, they're going out beside the pole there, I think. But I'm on maximum focus. Yeah, you can see them going by that electric pole. That pylon. There the two of them go. A nice way to spend some time in Galilee. So this text is has a very strong Isaiah feeling. This gospel text. And it's no wonder, because the disciples are watching Jesus. And they are Jewish people who are filled with the imagery of the prophets in their minds, longing for the return. And Jesus is up on the mountain, and he has compassion on the people. And he said, my heart is moved with pity for the crowd. He called his disciples. For they've been with me now for 3 days and have nothing to eat. Do not want to send them away hungry. So you remember about the abundant bread and the choice wines? He said, how many loaves do you have? And they said 7, and a few fish. And he ordered the crowd to sit down on the ground. Then he took the 7 loaves and the fish, gave thanks, broke the loaves. On this mountain, you know, all of these little details are echoes. On this mountain, the gift of the Eucharist. Take this, all of you, and eat. An incredible gift given on the eve of his passion, of impending immense cruel suffering. And he's able to do this in the worst circumstances, not only to be able to imagine the best, not only to be able to communicate this certainty to others, but to actually give oneself at the very best in the worst situation. How do we give ourselves at the best level in the worst situation? What incredible strength, what incredible glory when somebody maybe has their hand cut off in an accident or in worse situations of violence, and they're able to help somebody that has both hands cut off. Horrible image, right? Sorry about that. But you know, life is very rough. And to be able to not only imagine and communicate hope, but to give oneself in love, total love. To live to help the others. To live to help the others. Why do I live today? What is my outlook, my goal, my vision? I remember once seeing, maybe I'm treading on very sensitive ground right now, but I remember once talking with a young lady, and she was terribly sad. And it's funny, it struck me that she had these at least half-inch long nails, incredibly manicured. And I guess girls do that, you know. And I'm treading very sensitive ground here, so forgive me. And all these things are beautiful and everything. But how much time we spend on ourselves. And it's important to be properly taken care of hygienically, to properly present ourselves, to develop all the good talents God has given us. But we cannot live centered in on ourselves. To think about the others. It's a great exercise for children when their parents encourage them to open their eyes for the needs of others and to help them. Can you bring over this sandwich to this person? Can you do this kind deed for this person? That child in the school that's always sad, can you get a couple of your friends and motivate them to play together so this child is no longer sad? The gift of encouragement to help others in their difficulties, and despite their difficulties, to think about the greater difficulties of others around us. I think this has to be part of Advent, because Advent we're preparing for a revelation of extraordinary love. And it's not just to imagine it, and it's not just to talk about it, but it's really to be completely taken by it and to love. To love. This is where the guys come out with the bicycle, okay? And so we're going to go through there in a second. And this is where they were cycling along a few minutes ago, and now they're gone. You'd have to be Sherlock Holmes now to go and find their tracks and prove that they were here. And we move on in life, you know. So we just came through there. And look at, there's some little critters here at work. These are fresh little piles of clay. I wonder what made those. There must be a little hole down there and some little creature down there building these hills. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them here in the line. They didn't happen by accident. But I'm not Sherlock Holmes now. I don't have the answer on that. And since I was here last, look, we have, I counted them, 36 beehives. No, 48. There's sets of 4, and there are 6 on each side, so that's 12 sets of 4. You can even see the fresh tracks of the vehicle that brought them in there. So these bees will be busy here on Mount Arbel as all the fresh flowers come. What a glorious morning. So let this be our great prayer today, that even when the situations are the worst, we can imagine the best, we can communicate the best, and we can give the best. Yeah, there are quite a few bees around there. I hope none of you have allergies, okay? I'll stay far away enough in case any of you have allergies to the bees. People, it was a pleasure. Just so happy that you were joining us today, many of you. This is Sunrise Stroll and Chat. We're on every morning, but I'll be going on retreat. So from Sunday to Sunday, my sister will be doing it on her Facebook, Celine, and it's mentioned inside the text here. So you can just click on that to connect with her. She's doing a beautiful series on women in Galilee, like she calls them the flowers of Galilee. If you want to see that, click in there. God bless you. It's at 2 o'clock each day she's doing it, I think. See you later, people, alligators. Goodbye.